Welcome to the Bible Forum. It's December 15th, 2019, just before Christmas. And there is a brouhaha working its way through the halls of Congress in Washington, D.C. You've probably seen a lot of it on TV, heard about it. It's hard to escape. You may have taken sides. You may have been confused. You may have thought it was one way and then it was another way, and then someone said this and that happened over there, and we see the polarization between Republicans and Democrats, and it's just become chaos. Well, there's a noted Democrat in our culture. He's an American lawyer, an academic. He's a scholar of the United States constitutional law and of criminal law. He has been described as a noted civil libertarian. He began his teaching career at Harvard Law School, where in 1967, at the age of 28 years, he became the youngest full professor of law in its history. And he is a Democrat. His name is Alan Derschowitz. You've seen him on TV. Alan Derschowitz believes one of the, quote, most important, end of quote, developments in the impeachment proceedings against President Donald Trump happened just last Friday, just 3 days ago. Speaking with Fox News host Sean Hannity on Friday, this Harvard Law professor explained the Supreme Court. Referencing Friday's announcement by the High Court that they would be judging the case involving President Trump's financial records and the Democrats' desire to see them, saying, quote, by agreeing to hear a trio of cases involving subpoenas for the president's financial records, this by the U.S. Supreme Court, they have just, quote, pulled the rug out of Part 2 of impeachment. He says, look, the most important development happened today. Think of what that message is. It's Trump. It's Trump was right. That was the message the High Court gave us. He went on to say you don't have to comply with a subpoena of Congress unless the court tells you to. Now, we don't know how the court is going to rule, but they made it clear it's a viable issue. So that charge, that ground of impeachment, should be immediately removed by the House and not sent to the Senate. There's nothing to it anymore after the Supreme Court today said you're entitled to a review on an issue when the president challenges the subpoena power of Congress. The Supreme Court will hear arguments for the cases in March and will likely as not issue their opinion sometime in June. This just before the political conventions that come about to decide who will represent the various parties in the next election. He went on to say that the case has significant implications for presidential immunity. In this case, whether a sitting president can resist subpoenas for their financial records and the current impeachment proceedings. Indeed, impeachment Article 2, which centers on Trump's alleged obstruction of Congress, charges that Trump has directed the unprecedented, categorical, and indiscriminate defiance of subpoenas issued by the House of Representatives. If the Supreme Court finds that Trump has sufficient authority to resist certain congressional subpoenas, the implications related to impeachment are obviously significant. In other news, Dick Morris wrote this week, quote, as Democrats do their war dance screaming for his head, Trump is seen working hard for the American people. The announcement that he has secured the assent of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to the new USMCA deal provides a powerful counterpoint to the Democrat antics. The announcement that Trump has also reached a deal with Pelosi to provide paid family leave for all civilian federal employees, military already gets it, is only adding extra fuel to his support. And for many Americans, his success in establishing a new sixth branch of the military, a space force, adds more to his luster and momentum. And all this, while evidence abounds that we are in the best economic advance in modern times. Now, overlay this record with the Democrats' obsession on impeachment, and you have the reason Trump's numbers are moving upward. Experts agree that this was brilliant of him to make a deal for paid family leave, a great way to appeal to the suburban, educated women who often dislike him. And they're telling us that his wife, Ivanka, was probably the one who got him thinking in this direction. So now we go through Christmas with the Democrats trying to make a bitter partisan case for conviction while the president welcomes each day's good economic news and signs treaties and bills to the nation's benefit. And then comes the divisive, cantankerous Democrat presidential campaign against him. We're going to watch that next summer. It'll be a joy to behold. And what about the Ukrainian phone call? Again, Alan Derschowitz, renowned criminal defense attorney, a Democrat, thinks that President Donald Trump's phone call with Ukraine does not meet the standards of bribery set forth in common law. In a number of recent interviews, this well-known liberal attorney explained what's happening. He told Mark Levin in an interview scheduled to be aired just tonight, it doesn't work when you're the president of the United States and you're conditioning or withholding money in order to make sure that a country isn't corrupt and you're asking them to investigate something. That just doesn't fit any definition of bribery. Not common law, nor the statutory definition of bribery. And when you define the constitutional word bribery, it just doesn't fit there. They're just searching for a crime. Dershowitz believes, quote, they have Trump in their sights, they want to figure out how to impeach him, and they're searching for a crime. Dershowitz pointed out that the House Democrats only resorted to the bribery charge after others clearly did not rise to the level of being impeachable offenses. First, it was abuse of power. That's not a crime. It's not in the Constitution. So now they're saying bribery, but they're making that up. There's no case, he says, for bribery based on the facts, even if all the allegations against the president were to be proved, which they haven't. He believes all this is reminiscent of the Soviet KGB. He explains by going on to recall how the Soviet Union would first detain defendants and then find crimes to charge them with, a practice that was summarized by the mantra, show me the man and I'll find you the crime. He says what they're trying to do is what the KGB did to Stalin. Not to Stalin, under Stalin, the dictator. And he says, now I'm not comparing our country to the Soviet Union. I just want to make it clear that it never becomes anything like it. How hard is all of this going to be for the Democrats? You've been watching, listening, reading, paying attention. There have been times when it looked very dark for our team. But keep in mind, our team has not been up to bat yet. And the little bit that has been said just in the last few days is this, just scratching the surface. Some of these representatives and senators have been interviewed, and their responses are really academic. I mean, they are so complex and so far above anything we are thinking about as to make it almost impossible to follow. They've got a case here, and it's going to be fun to watch. Stay tuned.